Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Ben Cleary. You know, during tax season, you need information sometimes, and you need to know where to look for that information. And one thing that we've tried to do is provide information in a concise area in different places where you can go to it quickly and easily and find the information you want. We're going to be talking today about some of the self-research tools that we have for you in our software. Our guest today is Stephanie Bradford. Stephanie, of course, is Director of Customer Care here at CCH Small Firm Services. Steph, good to have you with us.
Thank you very much.
Some of the self-research tools that we have now, what are we talking about?
Well, we're talking about things that are inside the software already, probably things that have been there for a while, but some customers may not realize that they have it. And some things have been updated this year, such as the help files have really been enhanced. So I want to point that out so people will try it again, try to use that. Then we have other outside things like we're partnered with some other companies that can help you out with tax information or computer information, and of course the Solution Center online.
Okay, let's go to the computer screen, if you would. Navigate through some of these for us and show us what's out there.
Okay.
All right.
So now we're going to take a look at some of the self-research options that we have available for you. And we've got the Solution Center, but we have a lot of options within the software as well. So we're going to jump back and forth between the two a little bit. The first thing I want to talk about is what you should do really every day during tax season, several times a day. And I'll start out with talking about the live TV show that we do every morning. If you go to the Solution Center, you see TaxWise TV as a choice there. And when I click on that, it brings up this window, and you see the link for Good Morning SFS. This is something that we tape every morning, weekdays during tax season, and it's the latest breaking information that you'll need for that day. And I suggest that you start the day out that way, even if you just watch it later on when you have a chance. It's pretty short. But if you don't have time to watch the show, or in addition to the show, we take the same type of information and we put it on latest news. So again, I'm on the Solution Center. You can click on latest news, and this will be updated at least once a day during tax season, sometimes 3, 4, 5 times a day as needed. And the newest information is at the top. You see the date for each change is there for you. And finally, in addition to that, the same type of information is also on the blog. So when I click on that, this is really outside of the Solution Center. It's on blogspot.com, mytaxwise.blogspot.com. And the same information we put on latest news and on the TV show we also put on the blog. So all of this is done to keep you informed every day so that you know exactly what the latest breaking news is that the customer service reps know as well. So let's assume that we're in tax season, you know the latest breaking news, and now you're just working in the software, doing tax returns, and you need assistance on preparing an actual return. So there are several things that we have available to help you out with that. One thing that I can't show you because we don't have it out there yet on the support site, but just like we have this e-file availability chart that tells you when a state or a federal will be e-fileable, we will have a forms availability chart that tells you if there's forms you don't have yet in your software, you'll have an expected delivery date for when you will get that form. So that's something new we'll have this year in TaxWise. But let's go into the software. And on this return, we're going to talk about where to find help to actually do the return. You don't know where something goes, or you don't know how to fill out a particular form. So I'm going to pick on the form 2441. Sometimes this one can be a little bit tricky in filling it out. Well, for TaxWise, we do have an option called Context Sensitive Help, and it's right here at the bottom of this form. I'll move it up and make it a little larger. You can scroll down, and it tells you right there on screen how to fill out the form or some tips on doing this particular form. But you can turn this on or off. So a lot of our customers may have turned it off and forgotten about it. So in the setup, you can turn it back on at any point. Another place to really get help on a form is actually on the form on screen. as you scroll down through it, you'll see that there are certain instructions there that are printed in red on the form. And as we go on down, there's several hints there on the line items. For some of you, that may be second nature, that you've always noticed that and you pay attention and you use it. But you'd be surprised how many phone calls we get in customer service where they don't see that on the form. They just somehow skip over it. So a lot of times we'll tell them, pull the form up and let's go through it, go down to line 8 and read through that, and it answers whatever question they were asking us. Also on the form, we have help built into the software, and we have government instructions as well. So if you hit F1, this will give you the instructions for this particular form that you have open. I'm going to make that a little bigger so you can see it. You can see it scrolls down and tells you every single field and what goes into each field. If I make this just a little bit bigger on the tree view, you'll see where I'm at in the help menu is we have a chapter called IRS Forms, and every form is listed out there. So you could just pull up the help and go find it, or use the search to find it. But when you have the form open, just hit F1 Help. And we also have some of the instructions in Spanish as well. And finally, for more help on this form, if you need the government instructions, you can do Shift F1, and it will pull up a PDF of the actual government instructions for that form. And the great thing about this is it's searchable, so you can either scroll down through it or you can look for keywords in it to find what you need. Some other options that you have when you have questions about actually preparing a return. I'm going to close this down and I'm going to go back to the Solution Center, and I'm going to go over to the Community Board. When you log into the support site and you click on the Community Board, this is where you can talk to other tax professionals that are using TaxWise and how they handled a particular tax situation. So if I go to 1040 Basics, you can see as I scroll down through here, there's some questions that a particular customer has asked. How do you handle an estate tax, a particular situation? How do you handle a Mennonite form with Form 4029, student loan interest? And there's thousands of these on here. How to handle a horse farm, railroad employees, we've seen it all. How to depreciate cows. Any kind of tax question you can think of, it's probably on this community board, and there's a way that you can search through here and find some keywords as well. If you start using the community board, you start knowing some of the other customers on it, and you can see that some people really enjoy this. They enjoy helping other customers, and they'll help you out with a tax situation. And finally, another thing I want to point out on the Solution Center, I'm going to click on something that makes me log in to the Solution Center. So normally I would be logged in here at this point. And if I purchased IntelliConnect, I'll have a link to it here. And it does come with some of our packages. When you go into IntelliConnect, you have access to thousands and thousands of documents that will help you prepare taxes. And all of this is maintained by our sister company, CCH. They have an entire staff that's all they do is update this information. They have access to court cases and rulings and citations and documents, master tax guide. All of that is in IntelliConnect, and you can search it by keyword just like you're searching the internet with Google. Finally, the last thing that I want to show on the support site is the fact that we have the user manuals online. They've been there for a while, but we actually made a link for them here. So if you wanted to, you could go into the user manual to find assistance in preparing certain return types or certain forms. But I think F1 Help while you're on the form is really the best way to go there. So let's talk about how to get assistance once you've prepared the return and now it's time to e-file the return. Let's talk about that. Well, first of all, when you do the return and you start to create the e-file, the software knows if that particular return is ready to e-file. For example, if you're doing a Georgia return, have we activated Georgia e-file or not? Your software knows that, and if hasn't been activated, you'll get a diagnostic error. But before you even get that far into it, when you download your states, if you read the release notes, it tells you if they're e-file ready or not. It tells you which forms are missing from that package. So be sure and read the release notes. And then we also have this e-file availability chart. Right now this chart is for the prior tax season, so everything has been released and you see the date that we got approved, when we estimated we would release it to customers, and when we actually did release it to customers. And it starts with the federal modules and then it goes down through all of the states. There's Georgia. I mentioned Georgia individual. We released that to the customers on January the 10th. So you do have access to that e-file availability chart. If you don't have e-file for your particular state, chances are you need to download the update. So always start there first. Go to the download menu and download the update, and then you can also click on the release notes while you're there and see if the e-file was included with it or not. This is the download page that I was talking about, and when I click on the states, you'll see those listed out here on the screen. And again, for example, Georgia, when you click on the little booklet, that is the release notes, and you can look at that to see if it's e-file ready. 99% of the states will be e-file ready the first time you download the very first release of it in early January, so you'll have that. Okay, so let's assume that your return and your state are e-file ready. We're going to go back into a tax return. And let's assume that you have filled out the return and you start to create the e-file and you run diagnostics. So we'll do that on this return real quick. You do have diagnostic errors. For those of you that have used TaxWise for a while, you know exactly how this works. You receive a diagnostic error. You can read the words, but you can also click it, and it opens up the form, and you fix whatever the problem is. Once you fix the diagnostic errors and you run diagnostics again, you could see validation errors. And validation errors are related specifically to modernized e-file. MEF e-filing. And they look very much like this. I don't have one in this return, so I can't click it. They look very much like this, and you click it. It's a link, and we had a hard time when we first started that a couple of years ago. We had a hard time getting the customers and the customer service reps to click the link, because if you click it, it tells you exactly what the problem is, and you can go fix it. I will mention that for the upcoming tax season, you will see far fewer of those validation errors. The reason we had so many this past year is because we were programming for both legacy and MEF. These diagnostic errors were for mostly legacy, so when you cleared those out, then you had validation errors. Now it's going to be pretty much all one thing, and you won't have near as many of those. So where else could you look if you had any of those validation errors that you just couldn't figure out how to resolve them? And we do get a lot of those calls in customer service. So I'm going to close TaxWise, and I'm going to go back to the support site. And again, I'm going to go to the online community board. The community board is a great place to talk about validation errors, because if you're seeing a particular one and it's a long symbol of numbers and letters, it's kind of hard to figure out what it's talking about sometimes. The best place is the community board. I'll go to the electronic filing community, and just scrolling down here, I can probably find validation errors pretty easily. You'll see it in the subject line of what someone else posted, and this particular customer said, "I'm receiving an error when trying to e-file the 1120S," and he puts the exact wording of that error in there. And notice it does look like a website, but it's not. In the software, when you run diagnostics, you click that and it takes you to the form that's given the problem. And in this particular case, I actually answered this one and told him how to fix it. But in most cases, it's customers answering customers, because they've all seen the same validation errors. And we also have some other options for you in trying to solve these validation errors, such as the knowledge base. I already had this one looked up, so I wouldn't have to try to find one while I was doing the recording. But all I did was search on the word validation in the knowledge base, and it came up with this as one of the answers. And again, it tells you the exact error message that you would see in diagnostics, and then it tells you how to fix it. So it's right there in the knowledge base for you. An even better way to find that, rather than just searching on the word validation, would be to use one of these keywords in the error message itself, like W2IND with no spaces, just like that. And the last thing that I'll mention about these validation errors, and also reject codes, because that's another big phone call that we have, is on IRS reject codes. I'm going to go back here in the knowledge base, and I'm going to just stay in right here on this main screen of the knowledge base. As you can see here on the screen, we have several reject codes that we could choose from. For the upcoming year, we plan to have one knowledge base answer that has all of the reject codes in it, and it will tell you what the reject was in legacy, what the reject is now in modernized e-file, and exactly how to fix it. So you'll have one document to just search through. It'll be a PDF document, and you can find that really quickly. And the last thing I'll mention about e-file is that we plan to have a new service on our phone system, where if you're calling about reject codes or validation errors, you'll have a new phone prompt to choose, and when you go to that particular group of reps, those are the calls they're going to handle pretty much all the time. So they'll get really fast at resolving those, because they'll hear the same ones over and over and over. And we think that will really streamline that so that you'll get a quicker answer on it. The next thing we're going to look at is software usage. Where do you get help for just how to do something in the software? And also the new features that we have in the software. How do you know what those are? So I'm going to go back to the support site. I'm going to go back to the home page. And one thing that I want to mention first is the emails that we send you all throughout the year, but especially heavy in the fall, before the software ships and right after. Anything that our marketing department sends out to you through their system, I also post it on the support site under customer service emails. So when I click on that, all of this is related to customer service type information or training. And we'll have all kinds of information here about new features in the software, new products that we might offer, or new partnerships that we may have for you to investigate. So be sure and check this out at least once a week or so, just to see what we've loaded out there for you. When you receive your software, I'm going to go back into TaxWise just to show you this. I'm going to close this return. When you receive your software, if you go to the help menu, let me expand this so you can see it. When you first get your software, we do have these chapters in the help menus. So you've got this quick reference area, getting started in TaxWise, and that sort of thing. And notice under quick reference, we have important information for tax season. And if you click on that, this tells you how to read the release notes, when you'll get the rest of your forms, how to get updates, how to download, just some general information to get you ready for tax season. It's a good idea to read through this, even if you're a long-time user, because things have changed. We may have made something easier for you and you didn't even realize it. What's new in TaxWise is always there, and this tells you exactly what's new for the upcoming tax season. And again, I'm in last year's software, so this is all things that were new last year. But we still get questions on some of this, even now in the summer, where people just missed it. They didn't realize this was changed or added. So it's really good to look at this particular chapter in the help files as soon as you get it. Also, when we ship out the software, you receive a CD with it, a training CD, And when you load that CD up, it has all kinds of brain sharks, which are like PowerPoint presentations, really short presentations about specific features, and training videos. Another place that you can go for training that's available before tax season or even during tax season if you have new employees that join. On the Solution Center, we have training videos. It's a link, and this is available to everyone. All of this is free of charge, and it's just separate little training classes, 5 or 10 minutes long, about individual features of the software, especially new features. We also have webinars set up in the fall that give you a sneak peek of the software and show you the new features in that as well. And for anyone attending the user conference this fall, they'll get to see some new features introduced there also. The last thing that I want to mention is just some extra resources that you have available to you that, in addition to this Solution Center, because we have an entire TV show about all the links on the Solution Center, all of these can help you run your business. In addition to that, we have some other products that you might be interested in. I'm going to click over here on one of the marketing pages just to point out a couple of them. We have partnered with a company that will provide IT solutions or help desk solutions for your business. And what I mean by that is if you don't have your own staff of help desk people who can fix your computers and that sort of thing, networks, helping you back up data, internet problems, if you don't have someone like that that works for you or even in your town, this company will provide that type of solution through the telephone, and it's really inexpensive. And we had several customers that took advantage of it last year. We introduced it kind of in the middle of tax season, so you may not have even heard of it, but it's only $29.95 a month, and you can see all the options that they offer there for you. This is not us. This is not our technical support. You still have us to call for your software technical support. This is for your computers and networks and that sort of thing. Another option that we have is this tax help hotline, which is a company that, again, for $29.95 a month, you can call them and talk taxes, tax law, how do I do this tax return, and really get into what is the proper way to do a particular tax return. They do offer tax advice and tax law and that sort of thing. Again, we had a lot of customers that took advantage of it, even though we kind of got started a little bit late this past tax season. And the last thing that I'm going to mention is signing up for IRS Quick Alerts. I think most customers do that now, but if you go to irs.gov, you can sign up as a tax professional for those quick alerts so you know when the IRS is having any kind of issues with e-filing. We also have a really good site called taxadmin.org, and this particular site is a great link for any state websites. Sometimes it's kind of hard to find the revenue site for your state. There's several choices. So if you go to taxadmin.org and click on links, you have a nice little map here, and you can just click the state that you want to find their website, and it'll take you right to it.
Stephanie, you know, once tax season hits, you don't have a lot of time to go find out information that you need and things. And these self-research tools will help you do that quickly and easily. It'll save you time, save you money, and this is really a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Some of this you should do before tax season, so I'm hoping people watch the show before their busy time hits. Mm-hmm. And then some of it you can refer back to pretty quickly in the heat of season.
Sounds great. Thanks for showing us all this.
Thanks.
All right, and we thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.